Hold on, wait a minute. This is America in chaos. When systems sleep, the people pay. We all know November 1st is coming up, just like within the next couple of days, to be quite honest. But listen, we need to talk about this because we have the food stamps issues, this flight chaos, and the economy that are all colliding together into basically a 3-strand cord guaranteeing chaos for the US. And you know, it all started with flight delays, minor, forgettable, the kind of inconveniences we shrug off with another airport coffee. But within days, the terminals were empty. TSA agents called in sick and screens flickered with a single word: canceled. And so what we're seeing is not temporary turbulence anymore. This is the type of turbulence that isn't temporary when no one's flying the plane. What we're looking at is the great pause, the great reset essentially of whatever is going to happen next with the American culture, society, and economy, because it's spanning into all parts. I mean, I know you can feel the tension. I talk to family back in America, even to friends, to clients, and everybody says the same thing. Nothing has been the same since 2020. And on top of that, what we're seeing with this long-standing shutdown is that the heartbeat of bureaucracy is slowing even until the most basic of US government systems start to implode on themselves. And let's not forget, nurses, government contractors, federal workers are waiting for paychecks that just may never come. Now, on top of all this, President Trump is quite enjoying his time in Asia right now. He is brokering a deal between Cambodia and Thailand, but he has hopped over to, I believe, Malaysia. Right now, he's in Japan. He's really doing like his Asia America tour. But all of this is happening while the American people prepare for the worst. I know you've seen it on TikTok. People are saying that when November 1st and 2nd hit, they are going to rob these grocery stores. That means heightened crime in a society that already has pretty high crime. That means those of you who are preppers, who know people in your neighborhood, look at you and watch you prep, now you become the target because America, see, the thing is, you can't really prepare enough in the type of society where humanity acts like, I'm not even sure how to put it. Humanity basically acts like dogs in America. People are only in it for themselves. When stuff hits the fan, the community is not going to come together. And if the community does come together, it's more so going to look like a type of fight issue that you may encounter between one type of person and another, between one tribe and another, one race and another, one neighborhood and another. And so this is not the society that you want to be in 2026, or at least it's not the society that I would want to be in 2026. Now, if you've been watching this channel, you know my name is Tiffany. I am a married wife of 5, and we have been abroad for 5 years, like over 5 years. The entire time we have not gone back to America because what we've seen of America is not a society that is increasing in stability. In fact, we've seen the quite opposite. I just think it's funny, going back to the point about the America-Asia tour happening right now with President Donald Trump. He's brokering deals with Thailand and Cambodia, and it's like they couldn't even broker deals within America itself. So, they're also sending trillions and billions over to Israel and places in South America. And so the American people are just feeling kind of salty. Like the American people are like, man, what about us? What comes next for us? And so this is why you have to take the initiative and just say, you know what, America will never have my back. This is the most mature, peaceful mindset that you can come to. The government will never have your back. America does not want your best interest, and the society is basically imploding on itself. There's no values, there's no morals. It's just a hot mess on top of the cost of living crisis. And so your best route of action is to just leave America behind altogether, okay? But get this, in 2019, 800,000 federal workers, employees, were unpaid for over a month during that government shutdown, okay? Now, in 2025, that number climbs to nearly 1 million, yes, because the shutdown isn't just longer. Oh no, it's layered this time. Travel, healthcare, public assistance, medical, all overlap, creating collapsing dominoes. Literally, like y'all know when you touch one domino, they all collide. That's literally what's happening right now. You can almost hear the echo of a civilization that's essentially trying to reboot, but just can't figure out how. Airports become the mirrors that show us what society is going to become. If you want to know the health of a nation, look at the airport. When TSA lines vanish, so does trust. The air grows stale with the silence of unscreened luggage and unpaid labor. And you can't expect these people to work for free. Travelers glance at each other, unsure whether to board or turn back. People already don't want to visit America, especially Europeans, because they're like, we just don't agree with President Donald Trump. And in one terminal, a pilot live streams to her followers, "We're grounded until further notice. No clearance, no pay, no backup." Her voice literally cracks between the exhaustion and disbelief. Behind her, the American flag droops from its pole like a warning label. Now, if we were to go to the medical side of things and talk about some of these hospitals and have conversations with some of these nurses, well, we will find things are not looking like sanctuaries. It's actually looking like the Hunger Games medical survival. There are a couple nurses I saw come on my timeline here on YouTube, and they were basically saying that they are deeply afraid for their patients. I remember being a teenager working in healthcare, and so I know what that's like, but they're saying they're afraid for their patients because once their medical coverage runs out, once their benefits run out, essentially they're not going to be able to pay for their hospital stays. And I think what most people who are not in healthcare don't realize about America is how sickly people are in mass. You may think someone's healthy, but 9 times out of 10, they could be sick in some way. They could have been hospitalized, especially if they're obese. And so people that are currently going through these crises are essentially just going to be left to fend for themselves because the nurses won't be able to work for free. The hospital won't let them stay once the benefits run out. It's like, you get the boot. President Trump and his administration, they're essentially saying, we want some of you people to die off. There's too many of you. Some of y'all taking up too much space, and so they're just gonna let you suffer. There has never been a better time to consider medical tourism because that's just insane. Now, I'm not one of those people that would tell you to go to South America. Y'all know I am a proponent of Africa and secondarily Asia, okay? I would definitely tell you to go to those 2 continents, go to maybe like a Kenya, a Mauritius, a South Africa for medical tourism, because you're going to be able to be healthier outside of the States anyway, while you're eating that organic food and getting your medical bills down by a huge percentage, because America is basically the only nation with these outrageous medical bills. But when that nurse said that, I really did empathize with that because it just reminded me of being a teenager. All of the older people, all of the middle-aged people, all of the people you have in the ICUs, people that could have had accidents. By November 1st and 2nd, these people could be booted or are silently already being booted, and that's why hospitals in small towns are closing down. But this stuff isn't hitting mainstream media, right? Everything's fine as long as the techno-billion trillionaires are able to get everything that they need. Once again, I'm telling you, you're gonna have to pull yourself up by your bootstrap and just come to the very peaceful, logical, mature adult conclusion: America will never want to take care of me. They will never want to do that. The government will never want to do that. And so it's just going to be much better for you to rely on yourself and your faith in the Most High, because that's the only thing that's going to take you through these crazy, treacherous times, especially if you live in America. Now, nurses count heartbeats by memory because half the monitors are uncalibrated. Shift leaders stretch 10-person teams into 20-bed wards, and supplies are rationed. Patience is rationed too. A nurse in Ohio tells the local radio, "We're not afraid of sickness anymore. We're afraid of silence," okay? Of no one answering the pager, because while the staff in the hospital are also facing budget cuts, they're also being understaffed. That promotes people to quit and start to do their own thing. be more self-reliant. Some people will even be more of like a travel nurse, and then they may find out, oh, hey, I could go get a job as a nurse in these other countries. And while the pay may not be as high as America, also the stress level is not as high either, because at the end of the day, stress kills. This is why America kills. It is a stressful society. And again, while administrators argue about reimbursements, patients are going to whisper prayers to whichever system might still be awake. But now, we've got to talk about next, these SNAP benefits being taken out, because I've seen it all over my timeline. It's everywhere. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. They're coming with the AI videos about it. I'm like, this is just like off the chain. Who's making these AI videos? Like, is the government putting the AI videos out there that are already like adding more pressure and fuel to the fire? Because when these SNAP benefits freeze, childcare subsidies are going to stop processing as well. Disability payments are in the loop and still pending. In small towns, grocery carts are going to sit half filled. Credit cards for the American people are already maxed out. This has been happening since about 2022. Most Americans have maxed out their credit cards. And now, with one click of a congressional stalemate, the thread snaps. And here's the irony of it all. The richest nation on the face of the planet has become allergic to paying its own people. But again, I remind you, trillions and billions out to Israel. Trump, he's like, I gotta go take care of this stuff with Cambodia and Thailand. I mean, America itself is a war zone, but the elites don't seem to care about that too much. This is the algorithm of apathy. Because listen, apathy is the opposite of empathy. This is the part no headline captures, the psychology of the collapse. When every newscast feels like deja vu, people stop reacting. Outrage fatigue sets in. People start to just feel like it's normal just to live in a collapsing society. And this is where we'll find comments on this channel where people are like, oh, it's normal, it's just okay. Their brain is trying to process this. And some brains are just too afraid to register it as the danger that it actually is. And so they're like, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just gonna stay here. This is all I know. I just kind of give up and don't have any hope. There's this interesting psychological study that came out. I forget who it's by. You can leave a comment down below if you know. But essentially, if you put a rat or a mouse in a maze, like imagine I'm drawing a maze on a cardboard thing right here, but it's just a line. You can even do this with ants. The lines, obviously the animal can see the lines, but they don't know that they can actually leave the door because they've been enclosed for so long. This is literally the majority of American people. But since you're here on this channel, I know you are not accounted with those people. You're a little bit more aware or awake or starting to be aware of some of the opportunities that are abroad for you, okay? But the beautiful thing about all this is the birth of the Exodus mindset. That's why so many of us, thousands and thousands of Americans, began building parallel relocation strategies, second residencies, and income systems that exist beyond the borders of corruption, collapse, and bureaucracy. The same way we keep our investment portfolio diversified, you have to keep your life diversified as well. You need to diversify where you make money, where you heal, where you hope, where you adventure, where you school your children, where you prepare them for the next phases of life. They need to be diversified in these times. And listen, you can visit the Mature Adult Intensive by journeywithus.co or journeywithusmovetoafrica.com. Click on the service section and you will be able to join the next cohort designed for mature adults who are ready to leave before the next shutdown arrives, because this whole thing may not be temporary. But here's my closing transmission to you. Just imagine like we're just speaking on a radio in the old times. This is coming across your radio waves and you're listening to my channel, and I'm just coming to you like kind of like apocalypse, end of the world type situation. Look around. Airports are humming with silence. Hospitals are flickering with half light. Politicians rehearsing empathy for the evening broadcast while then later going on their flights to go, to the Caribbean or to their golf course or wherever they're going to go next. This is the sound of a system that is going to restart without remembering its password. When governments pause, civilizations remember how fragile order actually is. The question isn't when flights resume or when the checks clear. The question is how long you're going to keep waiting for this semblance of society to come back to America, okay? Because the truth is, the shutdown isn't just political. This is prophetic. And every delay is a reminder. The system may restart, but it was never designed to keep you safe. Shalom, shalom. I'll see you in the next video.